Good evening and welcome to Just the News. I'm Faye. This is where we tell you everything important that's happened over the last 24 hours without any noise, any opinion or any drama. So let's get straight to it. This is Just the News for today. Now, the United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change has released its 6th assessment report. It's not good news, guys. The UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has called this assessment report, and I quote, a code red for humanity. Now, this is what the report, which is the most detailed review of climate science ever conducted. This is what it says. First of all, global heating is on track to hit 1.5 degrees Celsius around 2030. That's a decade earlier than it was earlier estimated to be. Sea levels are rising much faster than was earlier estimated. Extreme weather conditions, a lot of which we are already experiencing across the world, including heat waves, have become more frequent, more intense. Cold waves have become less frequent and less severe. Once in 10 years or once in 50 years, events of extreme heat, heavy rain and drought will become more intense and frequent. Extreme weather events will be of a larger magnitude, increased frequency in new locations at different timings, and there will even be combinations of two extreme events happening together, like a heat wave and a drought at the same time. Specific to India, the report also said that there will be increasing heat waves and droughts, increased rainfall events, and more cyclonic activity that will occur across India, across the entire country over the next decade. For the Indian subcontinent, the report stated, and I quote, heat extremes have increased while cold extremes have decreased. These trends will continue over the coming decades, end quote. This is, of course, a red flag, if there ever was one, that we need to desperately make changes if humanity is going to survive at all. On to our update right now from Parliament. Remember, we're bringing you daily updates from Parliament as the monsoon session is on. The Union Defence Ministry in Rajya Sabha today said that the Indian government has had no transaction with the NSO group that actually retails the Pegasus spyware. When asked if the government had carried out any transaction with the NSO group, the Junior Minister for Defence, Ajay Bhatt, said, and I quote, the Ministry of Defence has not had any transaction with the NSO group technologies. Now, technically, this leaves other ministries still open to answer. Although this was the first time that the government has responded to a pointed question on the Pegasus row. Earlier, it was IT and Communications Minister Ashwini Vaishnav who had dismissed reports of the use of Pegasus software to snoop on Indians. But he had said that the allegations levelled against the government are aimed at maligning the Indian democracy. He had also said that several checks and balances are in place and any sort of illegal surveillance by unauthorized people is not possible in India. So, in that statement that the minister had made, he sort of left a window open for what could be legal surveillance which has been authorized by government, by some ministry. The only clear answer we have right now is from the Defence Ministry that says the Defence Ministry had not cut any deal with NSO Technologies. Also in Lok Sabha passed 3 bills without any discussion while the opposition was still protesting. Now, the government pushed 6 bills through today, 3 of which were passed in Lok Sabha. The bills that were passed in Lok Sabha were, first of all, the Limited Liability Partnership Amendment Bill. Now, this bill seeks to encourage the startup ecosystem by apparently decriminalizing 12 offences, but it also increases the punishment for fraud in our laws because the government wants to apparently reward law-abiding businesses and discourage wrong practices. Now, the second law that was passed today is the Insurance and Credit Guarantee Corporation Amendment Bill 2021. This amendment, once it has been implemented, will introduce key changes which are aimed at improving the working of insurance of depositors in stressed banks. So you know that when you put your money in a bank right now, it's insured up to 1 lakh rupees. Everything after that, so if something seriously goes wrong with the bank, 1 lakh rupees is insured, the rest is not. This is a bill that aims to change that amount to 5 lakh rupees per depositor. The third bill that was passed today is the Constitution, Scheduled Tribes and Other Amendment Bill 2021. Now, this bill empowers the president to specify the scheduled tribes in various states and union territories. It permits Parliament to modify the list of notified scheduled tribes. The statement of objects and reasons of the bill states that the bill has been introduced to give effect to the modifications proposed by the state of Arunachal Pradesh. Now, apart from this, there were also two other bills that were introduced. Lok Sabha proceedings were disrupted repeatedly by protests from the opposition, who continue to demand a full conversation and a structured debate on the Pegasus row and on the farm bills. But during those protests, the government introduced two more bills which haven't been passed yet. One is the National Commission for Homeopathy Amendment Bill, and the other is the National Commission for the Indian System of Medicine Amendment Bill 2021. In other news, the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi chaired the United Nations Security Council open debate this evening, making him the first Indian Prime Minister to do so in history. The debate focused on enhancing maritime security. The Prime Minister called for maritime trade without barriers to establish legitimate trade. He also advocated a peaceful settlement of maritime disputes only on the basis of international law. The meeting was attended by several heads of state and governments of member states of the United Nations Security Council, the high-level briefers from the United Nations system, and key regional organizations. Terrible news coming out of Delhi this morning. According to the Times of India, the Delhi police has registered a case after a video went viral showing a group of people raising terrible communal and anti-Muslim slogans in Jantar Mantar in a protest which apparently the police had not given permission for. Hundreds of people attended that protest. It was organized by an organization called the, ironically, Bharat Jodo Andolan at Jantar Mantar on Sunday. According to the Times of India, Shilpa Srivastava, the media in charge of this group, said the protest was held against colonial laws but denied any involvement in the anti-Muslim slogan shouting incident. The Delhi police has said it's filed a case against unknown persons, although it has been pointed out that the video of these people shouting the slogans is very clear and you can see all of their faces. The Delhi police is still trying to identify the people in the video. The Deputy Commissioner of Police New Delhi, Deepak Yadav, has said, and I quote, "We have received a video, we are examining it. A case has been registered under relevant sections of the law and an investigation is in progress." End quote. Update right now on the COVID situation in India. India has reported 35,499 new COVID cases in the last 24 hours. Now, this is a better number than the 42,000 we reported sometime last week. It's lower even from Sunday's number of 39,000. The government, meanwhile, today said 51 crore COVID vaccine doses have been administered in India. The countrywide vaccination drive, remember, rolled out in January this year. Health Minister Mansukh Mandavia has announced that the COVID vaccine certificates can now be downloaded directly on your phone via WhatsApp. It's a 3-step process. You have to first save this number, 9013151515. Then you text this number on WhatsApp and say COVID certificate. You enter the OTP and you will get your certificate within seconds. Also, according to a study by the Indian Council of Medical Research, mixing and matching Bharat Biotech's Covaxin and AstraZeneca's Covishield apparently shows better results. The study also found that the combination of Covishield and Covaxin is safe. Adverse effects have been found to be the same as when if you were to use the same vaccine in both doses. Other countries that are currently mixing vaccines when they give their booster shots are Cambodia, Denmark, Russia, Germany, Indonesia, South Korea, among several others. Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray has announced that the local train services will be opened up in Mumbai only for those who are double vaccinated, who are fully vaccinated after the 15th of August. The facility will be provided for those people who have completed 14 days after their second dose of vaccine. The Chief Minister has said a mobile application, one more, will be designed for fully vaccinated people who can register for the railway pass and then collect the same from their local ward offices. There will be an offline system for people who do not have smartphones. The Delhi Disaster Management Authority has announced that schools in Delhi will reopen partially starting today, the 9th of August, for students of class 10 and 12. According to ANI, the notification said that students can visit schools for admission-related work, counseling, guidance, practical activities related to board exams. Haryana has extended its COVID curfew until the 23rd of August, although it's lifted the night curfew, announced relaxations including reopening its swimming pools and doing away with time limits for shops and markets. The state government has also issued orders to cap gatherings at district and sub-divisional levels for Independence Day to a maximum of 1,000 people while adhering to COVID protocols. Haryana reported 19 cases of COVID in the last 24 hours. A quick look at news coming in from the world of business. A High Court judge in London on Monday has granted Nirav Modi, the fugitive diamond merchant, permission to appeal against the magistrate court order, which said that he can be extradited to India because he's facing charges of fraud and money laundering in Indian courts. Now, Nirav Modi had argued that he's suffering from severe depression and he has a high risk of suicide. The judge has said that Nirav Modi's legal terms of argument of depression and suicide were arguable for a substantial hearing. The judge also said that the Arthur Road jail in Mumbai, where he will be detained upon being extradited, should be capable of preventing successful suicide attempts. Remember, Nirav Modi is one of the two people accused in the Punjab National Bank scam of about 14,000 crore rupees. UpGrad has become India's 21st startup to enter the Unicorn Club this year. Remember, Unicorn is a startup that's valued at over $1 billion. Now, it raised $185 million in a funding round. Now, its valuation is $1.2 billion. Ronnie Screwvala, who's the co-founder and the chairperson of UpGrad, said that they're very pleased with the investor interest ever since they opened up for fundraisers. Now, UpGrad is a 6-year-old company that offers over 100 courses in data science, machine learning, artificial intelligence, blockchain, finance, and so on, with tie-ups to universities all over the world, like Michigan State, IIT Madras, IIT Delhi, the Swiss School of Business Management in Geneva, and so on. UpGrad also becomes India's third edutech unicorn after Byju's and Unacademy. News coming in from across the world right now. According to several media reports, the Taliban have now captured key cities in northern Afghanistan. Reuters also reports that Afghan forces have tried to push back the Taliban's advance, saying that they've killed more than 500 members of the armed group. The UN, on the other hand, says at least 27 children have been killed and 136 children have been injured across the 3 provinces of Afghanistan, where there's been fighting over the last 3 days. The battle between the Taliban and Afghan forces have intensified as foreign troops are scheduled to withdraw from the war-torn country by the 31st of August. The entire region now seems unstable. Well, an update on sports before we let you go for the day. Tokyo 2020 Games were declared closed by IOC Chief Thomas Bach on Sunday, ending what he called the most challenging Olympic journey after a year of pandemic delays and threats of cancellation. On Sunday, the US edged out China to reach the top of the medals leaderboard. The United States scored victories in volleyball, track cycling, and basketball to end with a total tally of 39 goals, one more than China. Indian athletes produced a show to remember, of course, with 7 medals, out of which 1 was gold. The handover has happened for Paris, that will host the next Olympics in 2024. Hopefully, we'll be pandemic-free by then. Football fans across the world had their hearts broken on Sunday as Lionel Messi bid a very teary goodbye to the Barcelona Football Club. Speaking about his exit from Barcelona for the first time at a press conference, Messi talked about how he was not prepared for this and how this was very difficult for him as he broke down and cried. Messi's family and teammates were there for the players' farewell. The Barcelona legend struggled to hold himself together. He began his address saying that he and his family had no intentions of leaving Barcelona and they'd planned their futures there. He said, and I quote, "Today I have to say goodbye. I arrived very young at 13 years old, and after 21 years I'm leaving with my wife and 3 children," end quote. After 778 appearances, a staggering 672 goals, Messi will move on from Barcelona with 10 league titles, 4 Champions League crowns, 3 Club World Cups in his haul of 35 trophies. He did, of course, also hint that he might be moving to Paris Saint-Germain. And one piece of positive news before we leave you for the day. On the occasion of World Tribal Day, here's some positive news from Kerala's Wayanad. The Nolapuza Wayanad district in North Kerala has become the first tribal panchayat in the state to be fully vaccinated. In a Facebook post, the Chief Minister has said a special COVID-19 vaccination camp was organized in 5 schools in the panchayat and nearby areas to provide vaccines to all residents. This is for 30,000 eligible people who are now all double and fully vaccinated. That brings me to the end of the news. Thank you so much for listening. Leave us a thumbs up if you find it useful and give us your feedback. It's always our pleasure to hear from you. Thank you so much for listening. Good night.